The Silence of Truth, the day humans lost the ability to lie forever. Elias Vance was a man who traded in words. As a high-stakes corporate defense attorney, his life was a meticulously constructed edifice of carefully worded suggestions, plausible deniability, and strategic half-truths. His reputation rested on his ability to make the improbable sound irrefutable. Then came the morning of October 17th, which would forever be known as the Day of Involuntary Honesty, or simply, the Shift. It started subtly, a feeling of deep, unsettling clarity. Elias was arguing a multi-million-dollar patent infringement case against Technova. Their CEO, Marcus Cale, a man legendary for his silver-tongued evasiveness, was on the stand. Elias began his cross-examination. Setting the trap, Mr. Cale, did you authorize the transfer of the design schematics on the evening of May 4th? Cale opened his mouth, his face set in a practiced mask of innocent indignation, ready to deliver the customary, indignant denial. But what came out was a soft, almost resigned sigh. Yes, I knew it was wrong, but the bonus was too significant to pass up. The courtroom froze. The statement was not only a confession but a raw admission of guilt and motive, delivered with zero emotional inflection, just cold, inescapable fact. Cale's face, minutes later, was a mask of sheer panic. He tried to retract it, to formulate a plausible lie, but the words stuck in his throat. When he spoke again, he could only state the undeniable, present reality. I am trying to deny that statement now, but I cannot. I regret telling the truth. Elias, initially believing it was a bizarre breakdown, watched in mounting horror as the rest of the day unfolded across the city. News broadcasts stuttered to a halt as anchors could only report the true, and often horrifying, internal beliefs of their network owners. Financial markets imploded as traders could only confess their panicked, irrational transactions. Global communication became a minefield of brutal, unsheltered reality. The ability to articulate anything other than the absolute, verifiable truth, or the speaker's true, unfiltered belief about the present reality, had simply vanished. Humans had been fundamentally altered. The most terrifying consequence was the silence. Diplomacy crumbled instantly. Wars didn't break out, they simply stopped, replaced by a devastating, truthful acknowledgement of all parties' cynical motives. But most marriages dissolved over brutally honest answers to simple questions. Elias's own wife, Sarah, confessed during breakfast the next morning that she hated his ambition and had only stayed for the financial security. The words, spoken without malice, carried the weight of atomic devastation. Elias realized that civilization, the complex, fragile machine of human interaction, was built entirely on white lies, polite fictions, and strategic ambiguity. Without the cushion of deceit, every interaction was a raw, painful collision of unfiltered egos. He saw a deep existential despair settling over the world. People stopped talking to avoid the inescapable pain of perfect honesty. Elias, now stripped of his professional tools, decided to investigate the shift. He used his last connection at the National Science Foundation, Dr. Lena Hansen, a neurobiologist, to gain access to early brain scans taken immediately after the shift. Dr. Hansen could only report facts. The prefrontal cortex shows an unprecedented, permanent, and simultaneous shutdown of all pathways associated with deliberate misrepresentation of information. It is functionally impossible for any person to articulate a falsehood or intent they do not genuinely hold. They discovered that the only statements that could be successfully formed were either factual statements, "the sky is blue," or sincere statements of belief, "I believe the sky is beautiful." Any attempt to form a lie resulted in aphasia, a physical inability to vocalize the phrase. Elias and Lena retreated to an abandoned university library, searching through obscure texts, philosophy, ancient history, theology. Elias realized that the inability to lie didn't just strip away deceit, it also stripped away the power of invention. Without the ability to imagine and articulate a reality that isn't yet true, to lie about the future, humans could no longer truly innovate, dream, or collectively strive toward an imagined, better reality. They were stuck in the eternal present of unvarnished truth. They spent weeks in the silence, communicating only when absolutely necessary. The existential weight was crushing. Then, Elias found a rare, digitized manuscript on Eastern linguistic philosophy detailing the concept of the unspoken word, the true, underlying belief beneath the articulated statement. The unexpected twist. Elias realized the true horror wasn't the inability to lie, but the nature of the ability they had lost. He looked at Lena, whose true belief about their situation was one of profound despair, and asked a question that required a complex, predictive answer. If we continue this research, will we find a way to reverse the shift? Lena opened her mouth. Her expression was neutral, but her eyes held genuine grief. She struggled for a moment, then the words came out, slow and deliberate, based on all available neurological data. I believe the current biological state is permanent and irreversible. Elias sank back. It was confirmation of their doom. But then, he saw the flaw. He looked back at the manuscript, then at Lena. And the true purpose of the shift, dawned on him. You said, I believe the current biological state is permanent and irreversible, Elias stated, his voice trembling. That is not a lie, because it is your sincere belief based on data. But what if the ability we lost wasn't the ability to lie, but the ability to articulate a false belief? He looked at the machine they were still using, the old computer monitor that only displayed objective, mathematical facts. He pointed to the data on the screen showing the current atmospheric CO2 levels, which were clearly high and dangerous. Lena, say this, the current atmospheric CO2 levels are harmless. Lena tried. Her throat seized up. She could not utter the objective falsehood. Elias then pointed to the manuscript section on intentional creation through language and spoke to Lena again. His voice filled with urgency. Lena, state your sincerest, most desired hope, even if it contradicts the current data. Say, I believe we will find a solution to the shift and restore the possibility of imagination to humanity. Lena closed her eyes, forcing the deep, desperate hope of her consciousness into the linguistic pathways. After a terrifying moment of struggle, the sentence emerged, clear and strong. I believe we will find a solution to the shift and restore the possibility of imagination to humanity. The power they had lost wasn't the ability to lie, it was the ability to speak without genuine intent. The shift was not a disaster, it was a terrifying evolutionary filter. The moment humans could no longer utter cynical, expedient lies, the moment they could only articulate what they truly believed, the entire fabric of society was torn apart because true, collective belief was almost non-existent. The power to speak a sincere future, the lie that had previously been labeled as hope or invention, remained, but it required absolute, focused, and genuine conviction to vocalize. The world wasn't silent because people couldn't lie. The world was silent because the vast majority of humanity no longer possessed a sincere, deeply held hope for anything beyond the immediate present. Elias and Lena realized that the price of their new, terrifying honesty was the complete surrender of cynicism. The key to rebuilding civilization wasn't lying, it was learning how to sincerely believe in a better future again. They were the only ones who knew how to speak hope back into existence,